One, two, three, four.
Hey, this is Philip from CC Motor Co, and on today's episode we're going to show you the right and the wrong way to lift your Mini up on jack stands or using a hoist. One of the first things you're going to have to do before you work on your Mini, no matter what you're doing, is get it in the air. Whether this means on the lift, like we've got now, or up on jack stands if you're doing something at home. It's one of the first skills you're going to have to learn if you're going to be working on the car yourself. Now, Minis are kind of different from other cars in terms of how you lift them in the air, how you put them on jack stands. And we're going to go over today because we see a lot of cars that come in that have crushed floorboards because people are lifting the cars improperly. And today I'm going to show you, we're going to look around this car here and see how you do it properly. Okay, so for the example here, we've got the car up in the air with our lift. With a lift, it's a little bit different. Now, maybe some of you out there do have a lift, and I'll show you kind of where we put the arms there. So for lifting a Mini up in the air with a lift, we like to put the pads right on the front here where the floorboard meets the firewall. It's really strong. If you can get the pads in, I got my little Japanese pointy stick, right here where the firewall here meets the floorboard. Because it's triangulated at this point right here where the seam is, it's really strong. If you can get the jack right up here on the subframe, on the flat part of the subframe, it's even better. But usually with most hoists, the way that they're set up, this is as far as you can get it in. So for the front half right here, and then for the back, kind of the same thing. I usually put the pad right where the floorboard meets the heel board, where it goes up. Again, just because it's triangulated this way, it's a lot stronger than if you were to put it here. Most conventional cars have frame rails that run along the body here, and they usually have a pinch seam that's welded right here. That pinch seam is quite strong, and on most normal cars, you put jack right there, and that's how you lift them. Minis are a little bit different. They don't have any pinch seams along this way, and there's actually no kind of real frame rail built into this. It's just kind of a unibody with a front and a rear subframe. When you are lifting the car with jack stands, which most of you will probably be doing, you're going to want to lift the car both with the jack and where you put the jack stands on the subframes. So like I said, there's a subframe on the back. It's this piece right here that's black, and it's bolted to the unibody of the car. So usually what I do to lift the car is I'll put the jack, the hydraulic jack, right about here, somewhere on the back of the subframe on either side. And if you lift it up from there, that will usually lift the entire back of the car. And then you can slide jack stands. I usually put them right about here. You can put them this way, you can put them this way. I like to put it this way if it does fit nice, depending on the size of your jack stands. Sometimes they will fit over the pinch seam here. But pretty much if you can get them on the subframe, one on each side obviously, that's a good solid place to put them on the back of the car. And kind of the same thing for the front. If we look at the front here, what I will usually do is I'll put the hydraulic jack somewhere on the front of the subframe here. Be mindful, on a lot of the cars, the battery cable runs from the boot underneath the floor here and along this area here on the subframe. So if you do put a jack right here, you can actually crush this cable against the subframe, which will short out from the positive terminal of the battery, and that's not good. So if you do need to put a jack stand here and the cable's running this way, usually what I'll do is I'll just take a Phillips head screwdriver, take out the two screws here that hold the cable, push it aside, and then you can put the jack right here. So the two jack stands will go on the back side. You usually lift it from the front here. Some people have lifted it from the the pickup points for the TC rods here. You got to be careful if you do that, because the jack, the way it comes up, you can actually hit the edge of these, and these are not that strong, and you can actually bend right here on the arm, which will change your caster settings. So if you're in a pinch and the only place you can find to lift it from is the corner here, just be very mindful not to touch the TC rod. Also, if you have a skid plate, a sump guard on the front, it can be a little bit trickier to get the jack under. But if you're able to get to the side of the subframe here, then it's kind of a surefire way that it'll lift up fine. So yeah, I mean, pretty much it's pretty simple. As long as you're lifting off of the subframes front and rear, you're going to be safe. If you don't, or you bring it to a shop that hasn't got a lot of experience working on minis, sometimes what they'll do is they'll put it in the conventional spot where most cars will be put on jack stands, which is right on the pinch seam, which the Mini doesn't have. And if they do that, this is what happens. So if you look here, this car has clearly been lifted from an improper place, and we see this a lot. I would probably say 90% of the Minis that come in have a big whoop in the floor here, and you can see right here this seam is delaminating from the firewall because it's been lifted from right here, and a jack stand's probably been put here. There are these little pads, one right here and one on the back, that people mistakenly think are the lifting points of the car. They're actually there for holding the shell down during the assembly process and not for lifting the car. If you are lifting it and you have to put one here, like on a lift, put it as far forward as possible where it touches the firewall. Hope that helped you out. Maybe you won't be denting your Mini. If you like our videos, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.